I have to feel sorry for Our Gracious Majesty the Queen because, quite frankly, at her ripe age of 96 years old, it must be very difficult when you've got continuing family squabbles. And they're very difficult to deal with, aren't they? Because, of course, you are a mother, a parent, but also you're a monarch. And as we know, being a monarch comes before everything else, with Our Gracious Majesty the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, particularly in this Platinum Jubilee year. So what is she to do next? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. This is a bit of a sad story because it's one that I've been told in the strictest of confidence, of course, because it's an ongoing battle really within, palace walls. It's all really to do with the fact that whatever you're reading in the press about Prince Andrew and of course the Queen, Prince Charles, Prince William, it is a really difficult period because, as you can imagine, Prince Andrew is very, very forthright, very outspoken, knows what he wants, etc. And he's tried already on a couple of occasions to try and return to the fold of the British monarchy, the British royal family. Now this is of course after the debacle earlier this year with the rather disgraceful situation that he found himself in, and of course having to pay out millions of pounds. Now what's interesting is, you may have read in the press, he's also struggling to sell his Swiss chalet to try and pay off some of those debts also, which is not very easy. But the bigger problem is this, what does Her Majesty the Queen do? Because obviously she realises, she's often said in the fullness of time, she wants to make sure that she leaves everything tickety-boo, in place, etc. So people have a place, a part to play within the British monarchy. And she desperately wants this for her son, Prince Andrew. But of course the public persuasion is very limited over here right now, and we are told that Prince Charles and Prince William are not very keen on this, backed by that public persuasion. But what's interesting for her is she's trying to find a role for her son where he, of course, feels that he's needed, wanted, and still has something to offer. Now, in the bigger picture in the 21st century, whatever you may think about Prince Andrew, this is a mother trying to protect her son. She obviously has seen some fragility there, possibly some mental health issues. And the bottom line is, whichever way you look at it, he's definitely paid some kind of price for what he did, or allegedly did, or what he was involved with, whatever. But what's interesting moving forward, I do think, is where does it go from here? What can he now do? Now, a lot of people are suggesting that he should move into charity work behind the scenes full time, very similar to what happened to a government minister way back in the early 60s with the Profumo scandal. Do you remember? Christine Keeler and the Conservative government almost bringing it down. He did sterling work for many years behind the scenes, and of course the public then fell back in love with him. Is this a route that Prince Andrew should be looking at? And is this a route, more importantly, that Her Majesty the Queen should be putting forward, rather than public displays out in the royal world for the rest of the public to see? And seemingly right now, when there's no appetite for the return so soon of the Duke of York, perhaps this truly is the way forward. The bigger picture for Her Majesty the Queen is, at 96 years old, what can she do to now make it right on both sides, as a mother and, more importantly, as a monarch? As ever, when I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.